I am here. I am going to check comments and make sure that y'all can hear me okay, right? I checked my microphone. I checked my camera. Can somebody confirm that you can hear me after last week? I need to know. All right. So here's hoping you can hear me, right? You hear me. Okay, great. Thank you so much to Megan. All right. So I am going to be talking about questions. Okay. I'm answering questions live. Here's what I'm doing. So in the past, last year, I basically did YouTube since the beginning of 2021. But for that first year, what I did was I would do once a month a video where I would answer or respond to comments from the previous month's videos. This year, all of my videos for the year are done, like completely done. I'm working on actually getting them scheduled, so I don't even have to think about them anymore, because my editor/son is gone for the year. So I am going to be taking one of these live Q&As a month to answer questions that were asked or comments or whatever from previous videos. Okay. Because I think it's really important that we clarify things, that we talk about things. I, of all people, am not the one who's going to say, oh, it's easy. Just do this. Just do your dishes. Okay, I know that it takes more words than that for people like me, right? Like that is just reality. And so clarification, all of that is really important. And I don't want to leave anybody hanging. I obviously can't answer every single question that comes up, but basically if I see a comment that makes me go, yeah, we should talk about that, I will screenshot it and then I save it. Okay. All right. So this question was asked. Actually, there were several comments like this, and I think I just screenshotted one. But on the video where I actually had little like things I was going to put up to show you which video I'm talking about. This one is called "How to Start Bringing Clutter into Your Home." Someone asked the question about, or someone mentioned they would keep the blue mugs. Okay, so I had these blue mugs that were blue glass mugs that I was so excited about. And then I realized, oh, wait, we don't have the space for them. Okay. And the question became, do we get rid of coffee cups, which my husband collects coffee cups. We, all have our own little special ones that we like. Do we get rid of some of those to keep these? And when I had to make that decision, that was when I realized nobody was using these blue mugs. Okay. Now, in the comments of that, in the credits of that, Reed mentioned that he actually does use them and he loves those. And so first of all, people were like, why can't you use those as bud vases? And other people were like, can't you keep some for Reed? I want to assure you, yes, we kept some for Reed. Now, Reed's not here right now. So if it gets to the point where I'm like, we have to make space in here, we can't keep these, well, then that would go possibly into Reed's stuff. Okay. But things have to have a place to be. I can't just arbitrarily say, I like this item, I want to keep it. I have to give it a space in my home. And when I force myself to do that, it helps me be actually realistic about it. So what about making bud vases out of them? That is a great idea for anyone who uses bud vases. Okay. So like somebody said, I would have switched them out for bud vases that I had. That is an absolutely valid thing for you to do. I personally have purged over the years. I had lots and lots of bud vases when I started and realized as I was going through my decluttering process over the last 13 years, I realized I don't use a lot of bud vases. One, maybe two at the most. And so I purged until I was down to basically, I can think of 2 bud vases and I know exactly where they are. And they aren't bud vases. They're more like, vases. But because of that, I realized I used to would have said they could be a bud vase. I'm going to keep it. And yet for me, I only have space for, only give space to these 2 And these would not be a substitute for that because of the size that they are. Because like generally, if I have flowers out, it's going to be like a big bouquet that somebody sent me, or whatever. So that's how I make that decision. Does that make sense? So that is an absolutely valid option for anybody who wants to do that. But if we're going with this whole, I can only have what I can actually keep under control, and I can only keep under control what actually has space in my house, like an actual designated space, then that helps you make those decisions instead of what I used to do, which is think of a great idea that I might be able to use this for in the future and just keep it arbitrarily without giving it a place. That actually doesn't get it anywhere. Okay. All right. Next. Wait, I think I already answered that one too. Okay, here we go. This is a great question, okay? And I believe it was on something where I was wearing a purple shirt. I should have taken a better thing. But anyway, this is a great question. So somebody had asked, he said, their friend calls it memory piles. Okay. She says, I create little piles of stuff to remind me to do something in the future. A pile of mail that I need to prompt me to call and deal with an insurance claim or contested bill or whatever. A blanket and my sewing box to remind me to mend a hem. An empty bottle to remind me to buy a replacement bottle. Memory piles are everywhere in my house, and I have trouble breaking this habit. Okay. This is a great question. And I honestly think that's probably, without having named it, I would say, yeah, I think memory piles were probably a problem for me as well. So this whole take it there now strategy that we talk about in all the time, right? Like it is about so much more than just, if I get distracted, at least the thing is in its place. Okay. It is about finishing small things. Finishing something instead of doing something that feels like I'm taking action, but I'm really just waiting to take action. Okay. So here are just some of the examples that you gave. A piece of mail that I need to prompt me to call and deal with an insurance claim or bill or whatever. Here's the thing. I have to have, for me to maintain my house, for me to keep my house under control, as someone who struggles with exactly what you're talking about, I have to give real places for everything. And I have to eliminate halfway places, which would be the piles. Okay. So I have a to-do, or some people call it action file, whatever, a to-do file. So I have a video where I talk about, how I finally gotten paper under control. I'm telling you, it's been amazing. I give my credit to Dawn and Cass and the Take Your House Back course, takeyourhouseback.com. You can join at any time. Anyway, but like I learned from them broad categories, and one of those categories being a take action file. Y'all, that changed everything because it gave me a specific, limited, contained space for these things that need to be done. Anything that's paper that needs to have action taken on it goes to this place, which means I don't set it aside for me to have a reminder later that I'm going to need to do this, because in my reality, once something is sitting on the counter and then there's something else and then there's something else, it's just a pile, and other things just get attracted to that pile and it piles up, and then it's overwhelming, and then I'm dealing with a major decluttering thing. But by having a place for things that need to be done, that lets me take it there now instead of setting it down. Not that I don't sometimes set it down, but when I deal with that during a 5-minute pickup, it has an actual place to go. Does that make sense? Okay. So that right there, it's eliminating those halfway places by doing the take it there now. So how would you do this in a blanket in my sewing box to remind me to mend a hem? If mending a hem is something that you actually do, then you need to have a place where you put the things that need to be mended. Okay, so this is the place that I have to put things that need to be mended. This space is limited. Okay, it's a defined, actual take it there now place for things that need to be mended. And what that does is it keeps me from being like, oh, this needs to be mended, set it down so I don't forget that. Oh, this needs to be mended, set it down so I don't forget that. And then I've got half done or projects that need to be done, mending that needs to be done, laying all over the house, which is what used to happen. So I have a defined place for that. Where would I look first for things that need to be mended? I put it there, it's contained, which then keeps me in check, okay? Because it helps me realize, oh, when I take it there now, I go, oh, I've got like 16 things that need to be mended. This space is full. There's no more room for anything else, which then helps me go, oh, these things here, they've been there a really long time. I'm never actually going to get to that. I'm just going to either, trash it or donate it, whatever, because that was another video we talked about, right? But so it helps me make those real, actual decisions. So having a place, where would I look first? And I ask myself that about anything. Where would I look first for an insurance thing that needs to be called about? It needs to have an actual place. Okay, now, if it's an insurance thing that needs to be called about, we can't say, oh, I'd never think to look for that. Oh, well, but you know what I'm talking about right here. Okay, or where would I look first for this thing that needs to be mended? That is how I work through that. I give a real place for it. I let that place make the hard decisions for me and force me to be realistic about, is this ever really going to happen? Or is it just an idealistic thing? Okay, because if it's something that needs to be in my home, it has to have an actual place. Make sense? Okay. Let's see. Oops. Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to have it on my iPad here. Oh, I love this. Okay. I believe it was on this. Do I have that? No, I don't have this one. Okay. This one, I believe, was on the one where I've got the cups in my hand. Okay. And I was in the kitchen. I have a real problem with the mugs. I am getting a lot of presents with pictures printed of them on them or photographs of my grandsons. I don't want to get rid of these and I can't give them to the charity shop. Who would want a mug with my relations on it, even though they're the most beautiful grandsons you could ever wish for? Okay, so she's getting a lot of personalized mugs. Okay, this is a really hard question. And I'm not going to be like, oh, just do this, because I mean, there's relationships to consider and all these kinds of things. So one thing you could do is just say, okay, I mean, these are ideas. You do whatever works for your situation. And I would love to hear ideas from other people who are watching as well. But replacing with each new one that comes in. Oh, and you might even say the word. Say, oh, yay, I've got a new one to use as my special coffee mug for this year. Do you want the old one, since I'm going to use this one this year? You might decide that is your new aesthetic, is that I'm going to get rid of all these other coffee mugs that don't mean anything to me. And everybody who comes to my house and wants to drink coffee is going to get to drink coffee out of a mug that has my grandkid's picture on it. It's like, if that's important to you and you can use that as an excuse to get rid of a whole bunch of other, types of similar things or whatever. And I was going to say something else really profound. I can't remember what it was though. But yeah, like I think it's that letting here's the other thing too. And I am a person who has given my, grandparents, not my grandparents, but my parents, things with pictures of the kids on them. And sometimes I have to get a reality check on what they actually need, and the reality is, especially for my in-laws who have both passed away, I got a lot of that stuff back. And that's just, I love having that stuff. I love having, I've got little things with a handprint of my kids when they were little and stuff like that. And that's kind of part of the overall process. I don't like to think about it when I'm actually giving the item, but that is how it has played out. These can also be, display items. Maybe if you really love them and you want to keep them, you could display them on a shelf instead. So when you start thinking of it that way, you go, oh, I could display these on a shelf, and that means I'm going to need to get rid of the other stuff, in order to make room for it. And then that often will help you realize, oh, wait, I've had these things on a shelf for years. They don't mean as much to me as these beautiful mugs with my grandkids, whatever. So I can just use them as display items. And sometimes just doing stuff like that, acting on that, will help the people in your life realize, oh, she actually has more than she can handle at this point. Maybe not, whatever, but we take that stuff out of love. You love these things. Okay. I don't know if that was helpful or not, but we'll see. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. And I've actually got the little doololly. It is from this one. Y'all proud of me that I figured out how to do that? From that video. Do you wash and fold your donatable items? I've noticed that clothes that are in plastic containers end up with a weird smell to them. Okay, so I'm gonna say what I think, and I guarantee you some people will get their undies in a wad, because this is a subject that gets people really worked up. Okay, here's my rule. If it is could be worn immediately, maybe, okay, I am the person, I am never going to bring something home from a thrift store and wear it immediately. Now I will wear something that comes home from a store, regular store. I'll wear that immediately without washing it. And I know there are people who have to wash that stuff too. I am never going to wear something that comes home from a thrift store without washing it first, because I can't. I can't. But at the same time, don't donate things assuming that. Does that make sense? But if it could be worn, maybe it has a plastic container smell, whatever. If it could be worn, if you would wear it, then go ahead and donate it. If it is something that you wouldn't wear, then if you want to run it through, the wash, you can do that. If it is so plasticky, maybe it needs to be thrown away. Maybe at that point it's trash. But remember, I have a thing on what to do with trash clothes, so y'all go watch that. But here's the thing. You got to get it out of your house. Okay. And so many times questions like these are stumbling blocks. They are the thing that just kind of pause the process and make you go, I don't know what the perfect thing is to do. You may have to do something imperfect. You may have to wash everything together and run it through and get it out of your house. You may have to throw it in the trash, if it, whatever it takes to get it out of your house, do it. Because once you get clothing under control, there's a good chance that you're not going to have things sitting in plastic containers. And this could be wrong. I know some of you are like, no. Okay, it's fine. Sitting in plastic containers long enough that they start to smell. Okay, like the plastic. You got to get it out of your house. Once I got huge amounts of stuff out of my house, I realized that I was more easily just kind of letting it flow through my house. And I didn't end up with a lot of these issues because I was able to donate smaller amounts, which then I could do a more ideal thing with. Oh, okay. I hope that was helpful. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, here's another one. Oh man, didn't have this on there. I thought I had uploaded the different pictures for different videos, and some of them somehow didn't end up there. Okay, someone has a question on the using the 5-step decluttering process on clothing in your closet. Okay. This person says, I live in the far north and we have 2 very distinct clothing seasons. If I decide to keep 2 separate sets, I have a second location, or a location within the location is likely what you would recommend, since the container is the limit. Okay, thanks for listening. It is not necessarily that I'm going to say you need to keep it in your closet. I'm going to say you need to keep it where you would look for it first. Okay, so this is someone saying that they do have seasonal clothing that they pack away. and they're saying, where should I keep it? But it's over here, but blah, blah, blah. Keep it where you would look for it first. If you would look first, you know exactly where your out of season clothing is. That's a great place to have it. I mean, that's fine. That's where it should be, is the place where you would look for it first. Just make sure that space is contained, meaning it is a limited amount of space that helps you make those hard decisions on what to keep. Okay. If it's a limited space, then that forces you to only keep your favorite things, which generally just helps you to be like, oh, wait, I don't love this thing. I can let go of it. Okay. But the thing I am going to say is, in case you're asking this question before you have started decluttering your clothing, go ahead and declutter your clothing before you figure this out, because you're going to get rid of trash, easy stuff, things. You're going to get rid of a lot of things before you ever have to make this like detailed decision. And so many times that decision is going to be either obvious to you because you have freed up space where you're able to put this thing, or you might find, like I did, I used to think I had to pack things up. But as I got rid of the excess, I realized, oh, I can actually just say, and this is my situation. Your situation may be different. You may have a smaller, area to do clothing, but I'm like, oh, I can use this bar for out of season and this bar for in season, where I wouldn't have been able to do that before because I had, enough to fill it up just for one season, fill up everything in the whole closet. Okay. So go ahead and declutter first before you figure out this hard detail decision. Don't let making that decision, don't let yourself think I've got to figure that out before I actually get started. Just start on the decluttering process. And that video talks you through how to use my 5-step decluttering process in this actual issue. In this actual situation. I did want to make sure, right? Yes. Oh, y'all. Look, you can go to askdanakWhite.com, and that will have the form where you can ask questions for future lives. I'm so proud of myself. askdanakWhite.com. Okay. I also wanted to make sure if you want to have people who speak this language about decluttering, who you can share your issues and what you're struggling with, and they're going to come at it from these thought processes that I use here. Sorry. Anyway, I encourage you to become a patron through Patreon. Patreon.com/theslobcomesclean. That is where you can go. And you're basically just supporting what it is that I do. But one of the perks of that is we do have a Facebook group just for people who are patrons. Okay. All right. So anyway, isn't that cool? I'm so proud of that. I'm so excited. Sometimes I do things that are cool. And if y'all go there and it's like something else, I'll be mad, but whatever. Okay. I did check it. Here's another good one on clothing. This was also asked on the decluttering clothing thing. What do we do with things such as camp insists on 10 days worth of kids' clothes? I don't need that many through the year. I do put away in a summer box, but overflowing underwear that sometimes I know y'all are just writing things in a comment and it's not totally clear. But overflowing underwear that when socks grow holes, I'd rather use the extras than eliminate them now and buy them in 4 months. But I don't have a good place to store them. So they're in my son's drawer, which is struggling over closing. Okay. So I don't know how big your son's drawer is, but I would start by decluttering excess. Okay. Decluttering the obvious stuff that you would never send to camp anyway. Okay. So make sure that you have started the process before you get to this difficult decision, because it is. It's like, I don't need this many things, but then we go to camp every single year. They always do this. It all comes down to the container concept, right? Everything does. And so throughout the year, if your son has, it's hard to picture exactly what we're talking about here, but here's how, if it's the way I picture it, this is how I would go with it. Okay. So your son has space. Okay, you said my son's drawer. So maybe he shares a room with his sibling or whatever, and he has one drawer, and you have gotten it under control. You've gotten your laundry under control to where you have just a certain amount of stuff. Remember, the drawer is the determining factor. The laundry routine helps you get to the point where you can trust yourself to just have what fits in that drawer. I know it's a lot to think about, but that space that you have is the space that you have. But where would you look first for extra stuff? Okay. If it's extra stuff that is not his day-to-day thing, because it sounds like you've really got that under control and you really have it down to what you actually need, then where would you look first for the extra stuff? In that place, let that space be the determiner for how much of that extra stuff you can keep. I know for my kids, I can buy them, especially when they were younger, I could buy them brand new stuff, send them to camp with it, and they're going to come back and some of it is already going to have holes in it just because they wore that one pair of socks the whole week or whatever. So purge, just have what you need in this one space. And then where would I look first for the extra stuff? Let that space be a container. Maybe you get some sort of a box or a tub that's like, this is our extra stuff. Maybe it's the stuff for all the kids that is in one. This is our extra stuff for that. And just let that be the decision maker. Okay. I think sometimes these frustrating situations, like, seriously, we're fine with 7 outfits all through the year, and then camp makes me send 10. And I'm like, maybe that's when they get their new, fresh stuff for the year. That I don't know. I feel like I didn't answer that one very well. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm just saying, where would you look first? In the container. Let that determine what you can actually handle in your house. And you maybe just say that's part of the expensive camp is that they have extra things, but I don't know. Okay. Oh, I love this one. I think I actually have the picture to go with it, right? Yay. Okay. So this is a video that I did last, I think I did it like either end of December or early January of this year. And it's called my no mess decluttering method demonstration. Okay. So on this video, someone had asked, what if you already had hooks on your shower curtains? What would you have done with the spare ones? I love this question. So in that video, I come across some shower hooks and I go ahead and take them and put them on the shower curtain right then. Okay, that's the whole take it there now. I'm going to go ahead and take action on as I randomly run across these shower hooks that I happen to have purchased at some weird time. And I'm like, wait a minute, I forgot I had, okay. But where would I look first for them? I would look first for them, being used to hang up the shower curtain. And I'm going to take it there now. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay. Because then it's done. Like it's done. And even if I get distracted and I stop, there's nothing halfway done. There's nothing partially done. The things that I have done, I have completely done. And so this space is just better off than it was before. But she's asking, what if you already had hooks on your shower curtains? What would you have done with the spare ones? Well, if I had hooks on my shower curtain and maybe I got these new ones, either because my mom was like, hey, I've got extra ones and I just took them. Or maybe I picked them up in the clearance bin, or maybe whatever. I still take it there now and force myself to say, okay, if I am going to keep these shower curtain hooks, I'm going to go ahead and replace them. And then if I look up there and I realize, wait, I like the ones that I have, I don't like these as much, then I will put them in my donate box. Okay. But by taking it there now, I am forcing myself to be realistic about whether I actually need these shower curtain hooks. Okay. Where as long as I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to keep those, but I'm not actually taking action, not actually taking it there right now, then I end up in my situation that I used to always be in, which was just random stuff everywhere. Okay. Let's see. Sometimes I have double screenshots of the same question. Oh, here's a good one. some really tough questions in here. This was on that same video. There we go. On that one, has that thumbnail. What to do, toss or thrift a working vacuum but has a broken part? What a conundrum. Second, what to do when my husband buys a new vacuum but keeps the old one that has the broken part? Expiration dates are guilt-free. Freedom to throw in the trash. Okay, anyway. All right, so basically it's asking about vacuum cleaners. She said, what to do, toss or thrift a working vacuum, but it has a broken part. Very similar to the clothing video where we talked about that, what to do with trash clothes, what to do with broken stuff. I mean, it's basically the same type process, which is I have to do something. I can't just keep it in my house because you just said my husband bought a new vacuum cleaner. I got to get rid of this one. Throwing it away is perfectly fine if it is broken. If you can't bring yourself to do that, then you need to do something. So you either need to call the thrift store and ask them, do you want broken vacuum cleaners? Because just knowing will either let you donate it or let you throw it away. Okay. Another thing to do is to put it into a Facebook group, and say, here's a broken vacuum cleaner. And the reason I say this is I had one of my first garage sales I ever had years and years and years before I ever thought I would talk about clutter on the internet. Probably before the internet. I don't know if it was technically before the internet, but it was before it was like this. Anyway, I had a broken vacuum cleaner and I just labeled it. I was like, broken, I think I said free, free, it's broken, whatever. And I mean, I might have had two because I was me. And I mean, they were gone like that. There were people who showed up at the garage sale and they wanted broken vacuum cleaners. I'm not guaranteeing that's going to happen, whatever, but you can at least put it out there, say it's free, it's broken, don't know if anybody fixes these things. And if nobody responds, then you take your thing down, your post down, and you throw it in the trash or whatever, but like knowing is what has to be done. Okay. So all of that to say, if you want to throw it in the trash, go right ahead. Okay. Because remember, you got to get the stuff out of your house. But that's another, there are a lot of people who like to fix stuff like that. Okay. Here we go. Next. Here's a great one. I'm struggling with what to do with 50 pounds of my 30-year-old son's childhood sports trophies. He doesn't want them, and I have a tiny storage closet. Pop the little plaques off the front. They're like this big, okay? And then those can go in your memory box if they'll fit. If they won't, then you keep the ones that are the most important and let go of the others. But donating trophies, there's a lot of organizations that love to get trophies at places like that. And you can have the full memory. He already said he doesn't want it. The full memory just from that little plaque, okay? Let's see. On this video, I got a lot of comments of people telling me, or telling each other, being helpful, because all these things are very true, of all the really great places to donate different types of things like blankets, towels, stuff like that, different types of places to donate. All of that is true. The one defining thing to know if it's what you should do is if you'll do it. Like, if you will do it, great. But if you find yourself, and this used to be me, and this is so many people that I talk to, okay? If you find yourself saying, oh, I should take my old towels to the SPCA, and I should take my, old prom dresses to the theater department at the local high school, and I should take, and you think of all these perfect ideal places of people who will be like, thank you for bringing this item. But if you won't actually do it, then you need to just send them off in the easiest, fastest way. Okay. And remember that getting the excess out of your house means that when you do get to the point where you realize, my granddaughters are done playing with this prom dress. I need to get rid of it. And you have that and maybe 3 other things in your closet that it's time to get rid of because you have been living a lifestyle of decluttering and getting rid of stuff and purging and all that. Then maybe you're like, yeah, I'll send an email to the local theater teacher and see if they want this. You'll have the bandwidth for that if you have gotten rid of stuff. But if you are at a place where you've got lots of stuff, you just need to get it out in the quickest way possible. So the defining thing for the very best way to get rid of something is, will you actually do it? Okay. And will you actually do it now? That's the beauty of that take it there now. There is more value in, if I really want to donate these old towels to the shelter, to the animal shelter, I am going to get together those and go take those right now. There's more value in that than there is in making piles and bags of all these different places to take things. And then those piles and bags just sitting in my house for the next 6 months or 3 years or 5 years or whatever. Okay. I think I'm about done. Yep, that's it. Okay. I will take a few questions from the comments. Please don't tell me that you haven't heard anything that I have said. That would be so embarrassing. Anyway. Oh, yay. Love this. Shauna says she did that with trophies and eventually the plaques were discarded layer by layer. Y'all, that's it. That's it right there. Love it. That's great. Okay. Let's see. I just took my old broken vacuum cleaner to the vacuum repair shop. They were happy to have it for parts and or to fix. We have 2 or 3 vacuum stores in town. I love it. That's great. Another, thing to do with that is just to acknowledge that. And that's sometimes why certain thrift stores, I'm not saying all of them, but you can always ask as you're dropping off or call and ask, whatever. We'll take stuff like that because there are people who show up at a thrift store and scan it looking for the things that they need like that. I mean, so, and putting it on the, like Facebook Marketplace. Hey, do you want this? Anyway. Okay. Oh my word. I love this. Karen says she once walked 2 miles in a day and never left her 3,000 square foot house while employing the take it there now method. I love it. That's awesome. Okay. Let's see. Anybody have any questions? If you have asked them in the past, you can ask it again. I'll be here for probably another 5 or 6 minutes and take some questions if you want. Trying to get to a couple. Debbie says, I love the take it there now approach. I get it to the right room or space, but you don't waste time making it perfect. Yeah. Like the goal is I just got to create space for it. I just got to take it there right now. Okay. I hope that the live was not frozen for everyone. Are you doing Take Your House Back? It is available all the time now. Okay. Oh my word. I got to take my antibiotic. It's available all the time at takeyourhouseback.com. Watch what I'm about to do. Yeah, it is. It's available all the time now. You can sign up at any time. So it's always going. Okay, where's the comments? What is your best advice for decluttering maintenance? Any weekly suggestions? My suggestion is to keep up with your 5-minute pickup. I am telling you, it is like magic. It is like magic. That is how you maintain your decluttering progress. It also reveals that you might need to declutter even more if 5 minutes starts to be where it's not enough time for you to get things back in place. It's a way for you to find out if you're at your clutter threshold or not. It also strangely frees up a lot of time. And so when I have I've got a chunk of time, what can I do? Oh, I can start decluttering in a visible space because I know that I'm only going to make progress. I'm never going to end up with a bigger mess. Here we go. What do you do when you want to sell everything? Well, the first thing you should do is read, right? No, that book right there. Decluttering the Speed of Life. Wait, there we go. Okay. because in that book, I talk about the value trap. Okay. Like I talk about, or no, I think I know what it is. There's a how to manage your home. Sorry, right there. That one. I talk about the value trap, meaning like, because I used to want to sell everything. That was me. Like I literally saw dollar signs in my brain every time I looked at anything because I was selling on eBay and I was wanting to sell everything. And I came to the point where I said, this is how much time it takes for me to actually milk every dollar out of something, which is a lot of time because I did it. I did eBay. Okay. So I knew what it took. And then I started getting rid of stuff and realized the time that I save just donating things instead of trying to sell it became very valuable to me. And the more I did that, the empty space with nothing in it and how much easier my house was to maintain, how much more I liked my house, that became very valuable to me. And so I started to transfer my idea of value onto other things, my time and how easy it was to keep my house under control. Okay. So but that is a very short answer to what I know is a real issue. So I do recommend that you get my books. If you, most libraries have them. If yours doesn't, ask them to get them. Okay. They are from most libraries have them is what I'm saying. So anyway, in that, and then in Decluttering at the Speed of Life, I talk about how I got to the point where I was willing to donate everything. Okay. So, the one thing I will tell you that if you just can't break through, I will say pick the thing that you are most confident is worth money and go through the process of selling it. Do it. Figure out how to put it on eBay. Do that. As you do that, you're going to either realize, oh, now I know how to do it. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm willing to do this. And then it'll help you get stuff out of your house because it's no longer this like, I should learn how to sell things on eBay. Because that's the problem, right? Is when you're like, I should learn how to do this. But once you do it, you'll know what to do. And this is what happens more often than not, you'll realize that was a lot of work. And I might be willing to do it for this, and this, but I am not willing to do that much work for all this other stuff over here. And it starts to give you a much better realistic idea of what it would require to get rid of something. And then you're more willing to get rid of things. Okay. All right. Yay. Congratulations, Janelle. Janelle is having a baby on Friday. It's gotten her home to a workable place, but scared about letting it go when the baby gets here. How do you keep up when you can't keep up? First of all, no, it's going to be crazy. Like it just is. I mean, like you are not a failure because your house gets kooky in the midst of having a newborn. Like that's just reality. Okay. But also because you are wanting to do better when you can. When you have the energy and the ability, do the dishes. If nothing else happens, do the dishes. Because as long as you keep doing the dishes and you don't get behind on that, then when you do get a little bit more energy and time, then you move on to the next thing. So stick to the 4 basics, which the 2 most basic are, I've got my fingers up here, doing the dishes and doing a 5-minute pickup. Okay. If that's all you can do for the first month, 6 weeks, whatever, you're going to be so much better off for having done those things. If you can't do both of those things, just do the dishes. Like know what matters and stick with those things. So those 2 things, that's everything. And then mostly just enjoy that baby because one day they're going to have hair on their toes and hairy toes are not that cute. Sorry. Okay. Threshold is low, but my love of clothes is high. I've already decluttered. Help. Okay. I mean, if you can afford it and you love clothes, just know that your closet is a container and there is no hope of your clothes ever being under control if you have more than will fit in the space that you have to put them in. And so as you bring something in, get rid of something older, something that you don't love as much. Okay. So it's not that you can't be you, but also acknowledge the realities of your space and the fact that if you have more than will fit in this space, it can't ever be under control. And so you're like, okay, I love this thing. I'm going to bring it home. That means I have to get rid of something else in order to create the space for this, because that's just facts. Like, right? Like the size of the space is the size of the space. Over time, what that's going to do is it's going to make you realize, as you see something, you're like, oh, I love it. And then you realize, well, I don't love it quite enough to get rid of stuff. Okay. And then, do that. Another thing to do, so then you might be willing to leave it at the store. The other thing to do is take pictures of your closet before you go shopping, to be able to, like, if you're like, oh, well, I never know. Okay, then look at the picture, and often seeing that picture and realizing, oh, there really is no space, or, oh, wait, there's that thing. I can get rid of that. That kind of thing will help you. Advice for being a slob married to a prepper inspired spouse who wants to save extra of everything despite my saying I can't manage that much. 38 towels for a family of 5 and need to declutter. I mean, this is hard, and this is not something I can answer in the next 3 minutes. However, the first thing I would do is make sure that you are working on your own stuff and neutral stuff first. Okay. So make sure, because you identified yourself as a slob. Okay. So make sure that you are focusing on doing the dishes every day. Okay. Make sure that you are focusing on doing a 5-minute pickup every day, even before you have things decluttered. Just start doing that. It's going to change your home. Work on decluttering your own stuff that they have nothing to do with, and stuff that they don't care about. Work on that first, and it's going to help you start to feel a little more in control of your house, and your whole house is going to start to change. I can't guarantee it, but it happens. Like, it just happens so much. So yeah. Okay. My basement is a disaster and it hinders daily life, but I have 4 small kids, homeschool, and no help available. How do I get started when I'm too overwhelmed with just the basics? I mean, focus on those daily things first. Okay. If all you can do in the midst of this crazy time of life is doing the dishes and a 5-minute pickup, okay. But here's the thing. Once you get those things to where you get them under control, you bring the 4 kids in on it after you have established the routines, you start to, do that. Then, oh my word, sorry, I can't forget to take my medicine. So I have to keep hitting snooze, but now I know it's been 9 minutes. So, then, work on that. It's amazing how that will free up time. I mean, like, it's hard to put it into words, but I'm just telling you, it works for me. It works for so many people. Like, when you get those very basic things done, it's amazing how it frees up time. And make sure that you're following the 5-step no mess decluttering process. Okay. No, if you are going to go down there and pull everything out of every place and pile it all around, no, you can't do that in small amounts of time. But if you're going to follow my 5-step decluttering process, you can totally do that in small amounts of time. Okay. Like, you can literally go down there for, I thought I was going to have 15 minutes. I only ended up having 4. You're still better off. Okay. Because if you will follow that 5-step process, which you can get at aslobcomesclean.com/5, FIVE, then that will help. Let's see if I have it. Oh, I thought I had it. I didn't. Okay. All right. I'm going to have to stop here. Remember, you can ask questions for future lives at askdannykWhite.com, because I'm very proud of that. That will take you to the form that will, where you can submit questions to be answered in future lives. Make sure also that you know that if you would like to speak this language with others who speak it as well, meaning talking about the no mess decluttering process, really focusing in on daily habits, I encourage you to become a patron. So go to patreon.com/aslobcomesclean. All right. I will talk to y'all next Tuesday, probably.